You're almost ready. You look wonderful. No, look at me. Just look at me. Terrific. Okay. Will you tell me your full name, please?
My name is Pnina Tory, born Uspitz.
In what country?
Yeah, I was born in a little shtetl in Lithuania, Pilviški, at 1930.
Okay. Pnina, tell me, when the war broke out, where were you living?
I was living in Kovno with my husband and my daughter.
What was your husband's name?
My husband was Pinchas Sheinson. He was a engineer and a contractor, a builder, and we were supposed to go to Israel, and we had already certificates. But the Russian came at 1940 and they didn't let us out. And in my house also my little brother, he was the youngest one, 20 years old, and he had also a certificate for Eretz Israel as a student, and he also couldn't go out. And this was our bad luck.
Okay, so that when did the Nazis come into Kovno?
The Nazis came in Kovno in June 22.
Was your
but we were taken out of our houses already a day before by the Lithuanian so-called partisans, and they came in the house, took us out on the street, and with the guns, the little one stood with her hands up, and they brought us to jail. Kept us, all the people, the parents of my husband were in the house, and a cousin, and all the kind people gathered because it was at the house. I had plenty of food. It was wartime. We knew it's going to be war and prepared for war. And so they thought it will be more convenient to be in our house, and everybody was taken out and taken to jail. After 3 days, we managed to go out, my daughter and myself, and also the nanny of my daughter, who was a Christian, but she asked for a child, so they took her also into the jail.
Pnina, because of the time, we have to move a little differently than I might like to. So let me just ask you, when was your first husband killed? What happened?
He was killed, this I told you, from the prison. The men were taken to the 7th Fort. I told you about the 7th Fort.
Well, tell us again.
This was fortations around Kovno, were fortations, and the 4th, 7th, the 9th. I tell these numbers because there were many Jews killed, and they were taken there, and we were by chance let out because of the little child. And there on this fort, he was killed together with my little brother, my father-in-law, my cousin. Everybody was there killed under terrible conditions. It was terrible conditions. It was a little boy who stayed alive, who ran away with the mothers of the women and came back, and he told me what was going on this fort. And then I had to move to the ghetto. I must take it short. I must tell you, I was already beaten before the war because the Russian sent my parents and my oldest brother with his wife to Siberia. And so it was a week before the war broke out. And I was very miserable because we heard that the trains were bombed, and I was sure my parents are not alive anymore. And so I was beaten one after the other. I didn't believe that my husband was killed and my brother was killed, although somebody told me it is no time to tell particulars. But I still hoped that they are alive. But I had to move to the ghetto. I was staying in the city a long time because I went to some people. My husband, my late husband, had connections with the Lithuanian because he built for the government. I'm going
to stop you because I need to stop you. Just slow down a minute. It's fine. I'll pace it, and we're okay. We're fine. What was it like for you as a young widow, alone in the Slobodka ghetto?
It was terrible because everything was taken from me. My apartment, my money, my jewelry, everything, and I was staying too long in town. Then I couldn't get a room in the ghetto because it was so few dwellings, and then it was terrible. By chance, it is a long story, but I shall not tell it. But I got a little tiny room. It was half a room. It was about 8 meters, and then I went alone with all the belongings. I had to get a card from and the Lithuanians were not supposed to lend their cards for Jews by law, by the German law. But anyway, when you paid money, you got it. We had to go 2 hours to the ghetto. It was a short, not so far away, but the long row of the cars we went to the ghetto made it so slowly. And 3 times I went so with the belongings to the ghetto. I didn't have a place to put the things, so I put it where acquaintances, relatives were, so I put it on the courtyard. No, and then finally I got this little room, and I moved in. And this is also a very hard story that could be told in another time.
We'll do another
and time. Then it was there were the parents of my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, because her. And they helped me to get some food, some flour. She is to get some flour and some foods, but it was in a short time it was gone, and you didn't get other things till they organized, until they began to give the food in the ghetto. It took some time, and then it was so little. For instance, we got 120 gram bread a day, and you couldn't die and you couldn't live on it. You see, it was a starvation. It was such starvation, and we had to get food. So the minute to get food, it was to sell your things, to change it for food, and there were brigades. We went out into the street, into the city to work. There were little brigades where you could have connections of the Lithuanian and change with them your belongings for food or for money, and so you got some food. But it was very hard work. You had to go by foot about 10, I speak in kilometers, 10, 15 kilometers, and then after a day's work back, and with the parcel on your back. But when I did it, I was already lucky because I had it already. I could bring in food in the ghetto. But it passed a long time till I could go out, and then happened that the nanny of my daughter, who stayed in the city, tried to get connections with me, and she used to come where the people worked and send some little parcels for me.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt again, and let's stop a bit. When did you meet Avram Tory?
This I tell you, this is a connection of it.
Okay.
So, but now nobody gave it to me. Everybody, I don't know who the people got it, but they didn't get it. So one day, I knew my husband, Avram, a long time ago, where I was a girl of 15 or so. He came to our little town he was a Maccabi sportsman, and he used to make in the little shtetl in all the country, he used to come and make sport feast, and teach. So to keep together the Maccabi movement. And he came also in our shtetl, so I knew him the first time. And then I met him, even he was on my marriage, my wedding when I married. And I was also on his wedding when he married, because my parents-in-law were some way connected to them. I don't remember how. But I was not aware of him at all, that he's in the ghetto, and I had no connection of him. But then one day he came in, and he tells me, and brings me a little parcel from the nanny. It was wonderful. There was bread and a little piece of butter and some things. And he tells me that what she told him, that she was several times here and sent parcels, and she never got any news from me. So this was the first time I knew him. I saw him again, but when he was very much impressed, or so impressed with what he saw, how I live. It was already cool, and it was already, and it was terrible. It looked terrible because in my little room, I took in my cousin because she didn't find a place. So I took her in, and then her brother, also my cousin, came to us to eat, but we couldn't eat together. One went out, and the other one could come in.
Okay. When did you start helping? I'm sorry, I'm going to have to keep doing this, I'm afraid. So when did you start helping Avram with the diary?
So this was after quite a while further. I didn't know he writes something he didn't tell anybody. And but then I moved then to another flat because they took away the house, the committee, the council took away the house for the German Arbeits. It is for the German work department. So we are given other flats. It also was a house opposite the council, the building of the council. So, and he was already interested, and he told me, you can get that, you can, like other persons on the committee, and he was interested how I'm going on.
Yeah, Pnina, I really have to stop you. I'm sorry. Please follow my lead. Okay, I'm going to ask you very specific questions, and you give me very specific answers. Okay, just because we're short and it's not right, but I have to do it this way. When did you start physically helping him with the diary?
So this I tell him it was in about 42. For my new apartment opposite the council, I came one day out and I saw him coming against me, and I said hello, and he was very, very grave, so very much grave, and he told me, look, Pnina, I want to ask you something. What are you doing? I write a diary and I can't keep it with me, and I want you to hide it for me, to keep it in your place, because I can't keep it in my place, and not in the council. I was at once I was very much astonished, but afterwards he was so grave, and he repeated, I can't keep it at my place. So I said, hello. I was very interested to hear that he writes a diary. So I said, of course I shall do it. And then he had to say to me, it is very dangerous. I said, all right, I know, I understand. Everything is dangerous in this place. And so he brought me in the first pages, and then he used to send me, when he was writing in the council, he had a messenger, a boy of 10, 11 years maybe he was. Yankali was his name, so he used to bring me all the papers, and then he began to come in the evenings and write what he didn't finish, he'd write at my place, and so it began. Afterwards,
Did you take dictation for him for a while?
So when he was very tired and he wanted to give up, so I said, all right, I shall write, and he dictated and I wrote the papers, and then I hid it in my room. Afterwards it began to be too dangerous, and I used to take all these written papers when it was finished, and I brought it up upstairs. It was an attic, and there was, how you call it in English, from not straw, but I forgot now you call it. But I used to bury it underneath. It was in a corner. It was a place where nobody came. And then afterwards we saw, one day I used to go up on this attic when I had the papers. I put it in a bowl of laundry. I put it as if I go to hang laundry there. But we didn't have a staircase. It was, a ladder. so once I stepped and everything fell down, and so I was so frightened. I looked on, nobody was. I put it again, and after this time, we thought what to do, and so we built in the where it was a water closet. It wasn't a water closet; it was a closet. Behind we made a second wall, such a small, and then I used to put in the papers, not to have to go all the time on the attic.
Okay, when you were ready to leave to the ghetto, how did you and Avraham escape from the ghetto with Elkanan Elkis's last letter? When did you get Elkanan Elkis's last letter?
The last letter of Dr. Elkis got Avraham. I was already in the country because we took our daughter, and she got ill, and I was not supposed to go there. It was against the will of the priest, our savior. I was very sorry to do it, but I knew an ill child can't survive on the country, and I didn't know how good the people were. So I went out to be of the. And it stayed there. To cut a long story short, I stayed there, and then after several months, I began to take them to bring Avram there. And this was a young boy there of 20 that wanted very much to study. So I told him, look, he's a lawyer, and I will teach you everything. And this was the thing that brought him to speak to his mother to bring Avram. And so it is a long story of the escape.
No,
so
we
don't have time for it.
Yeah.
So before he left the ghetto, after he got the message through the priest that a wagon is coming to take him, so he was in the ghetto. If I meeting with Dr. Elchanan Elkes, and Dr. Garfinkel was the deputy of the council, and he told them this is that he's going away, and of course. I think Avram will tell you about it.
I don't want Avram's story. I want your story.
So he got the letter. He got then the letter from Dr. Elchanan Elkis, and he was so sure that you will stay alive. Well, you will stay alive, and you will bring the letter to my children. And with this letter, he came. He went out, and with this letter he came, and he read it all the time. This letter.
But how did you get the letter?
And when we went out from, when we were going with the brecha, fled from Lithuanian, and so we took the letter of us together with all the documents we took out from the earth, from the crates. And all the time, my husband kept the letter with him in his. But when we were on one borderline, and the Russians were checking us, terribly checking, and I saw they are taking all written things are taking away. And then Avram saw it, so he came to me and he said, "Look what is going on." And he took out the letter and he gave it to me. I picked up my dress and put it in there.
Don't touch your microphone. All right, stop. I need you to stop. I need you to physically stop. All right. I want you to, would you please take your hands and just put them here like that? No, don't touch that.
Yeah.
Now, let's start and go back. I need you not to touch that microphone.
I understand.
Okay.
1 moment, please.
Take some water. Relax. John, or who's ever on the controls, would you just tell the front desk to please look out for Mr. Tory? Thank you, dear. All right, now, I want you to tell me what happened. Start from the beginning when Avraham came to you with the letter. Exactly physically what you did.
Yeah, I went aside a little bit.
Just say, Avraham gave me the letter, and then tell me what you did.
Yeah, so he took out the letter and gave it to me, and he said, I'm afraid they're going to take it away. I pulled up my dress and put it in my bra, the letter on my body, and they checked us, but they didn't check me like that. And so I came off with the letter. But I was so sweating, the letter was damp afterwards.
How did you get out with the letter? Where did you physically go?
Oh, we went a long way. We went afterwards to the Czechoslovakia. From the Czechoslovakia, we went to Hungary and then to Romania. In Romania, we were supposed to go by boat to Israel. We had already certificates, but then I can't tell you the story, but he had to run away because the Russians heard about it. That there are people from Russia, from the Baltic states, going on the boat, so we had to run away back, and went back to Hungary, back to Austria. Sorry. And then we came on the border of Austria and Italy, and there we passed the border when we were with the Jewish Brigade, and this was a wonderful thing what happened to us. It was like coming to brothers. It was wonderful, you can never forget it. After all what happened to us, this was the most wonderful thing what happened to us. And then in north of Italy, I wrote to Joel Elkes, Dr. Joel Elkes, and I sent him the letter.
So the letter then was mailed from Italy?
From Italy, yeah.
And you kept it on your body during that whole trip?
Yeah, whole trip, yeah. And I sweated from fear, you know, it was such a fear. I was very much afraid to lose this letter. I don't really remember how I mailed it. I think I mailed it through military mail because there was no mail, but we had these brigades, soldiers, and I found a way how to mail it.
Nice. That's quite a story,
that
escape.
But this letter is just a wonderful letter. It is a historic letter, and he couldn't get over it to not to bring it to his destiny. And so the other documents, it was also in the same place. We had to smuggle through the bundle of the documents, and it was a miracle we succeeded. It just a miracle. When I think about it, so.
Okay, let's stop a minute because I want to ask the control room a question. Okay. Good. We have the key points now on tape, and now we have 15 more minutes, so we have some more leisure. We can go back.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go back a little bit because we have a little more time.
Yeah. So what do you want to hear?
What I'd like to hear are when you were helping Avram escape with the letter. We can slow down a little bit now. When Avram came with the letter, did you read it?
Yeah, of course, I read it. I read it. I knew about it.
All right, now let's go back because you're on tape now. Let me rephrase the question. When Avram came with Elkes's last letter, you read the letter. What was your reaction to the letter?
I was very emotional. It was very emotional.
Did you know Dr. Elkes?
Oh, yes. I knew him very well. I knew him as a doctor, and I knew him as a head of the ghetto.
Okay. Would you tell us about what you know about Dr. Elkes, how you saw him as a person? Okay, and would you use his name?
Yeah. Dr. Elke, so first of all, he was an outstanding doctor. My parents were always his patients coming from the little town to him. And he was known and he was also known as the director of the Bikur Chelim of the hospital, the Jewish hospital. And then in the ghetto, everybody honored him and everybody admired him because he was above all, you see. And I heard always about him of great admiration from Abraham. So when I read the stories, so Abraham told me, always he used to confer with him, to read before him this, what he has written, because he wanted to know if it is correct. About things he wasn't present, on things that Abraham wasn't present, because he heard Dr. Elke spoke with the German so when he wrote it down, he always brought it to him, read it before him to know if it is everything correct. And so he used to tell me about these conferences and also about the Mrs. Helkes. She was also a wonderful woman. And this is what I know about him. It is many of this is written in the book, and I read it too.
All right, one more question, and then we're going to stop. Can you tell us again, when you were helping Avram with the diary?
Yeah.
Were there times when it was particularly dangerous?
Of course it was. It is always dangerous. We were always afraid. For instance, in the daytime, so when a German used to come in the ghetto, Abraham used to send me a messenger to tell Germans in the ghetto. So I knew I must be clean. Everything must be good. One day it was it is an incident such that we were sitting very late in the night. It was already 12 midnight, and he went out. And all the papers were still on the table. I didn't have time to take them. And I went out in the second room. It was a kitchen. And there in this kitchen, it was a kitchen and a room, our apartment. So it is like two rooms. So in the forum lived my cousins. So I went out and I spoke to them. I didn't have the time to go in back. And so suddenly, I hear a knock on the door, and Lipzer came in. Lipzer was the head of the brigade who worked at the Gestapo. And he thought himself a very high man and a very powerful, because he was connected to them. They liked him. He worked for them. He worked for them. The brigade was of workers, all kinds of workers, like cleaners and sewers and all kinds of things. And I was so much terrified. And he came up with a man, Shalit, what's his name, an engineer also. He lived downstairs. And he said, I saw a light in your room, so I went up. And he made a move to go farther to my room. So I said, Mr. Lipzer, I beg your pardon, my child is very sick and she fall asleep, and I ask you not to wake her. So he said, all right. So, and he said goodbye, and he backed out with the other one. I was terrified to death, you see, because if he saw, I don't know, maybe we'll give it to the Gestapo. Well, at the least he could afterwards always keep Avram in the hands to tell him, I'm going to give you out.
The diary, you mean?
Yeah. If we saw, it would be very curious for him to see what kind of papers are sitting in my room. I'm writing in the night. So this is, I tell you, a little incident, what can happen in those things.
Okay. I want to thank you, Pnina,
Yeah.
very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Stop tape, guys. Okay.